Before I say anything else, before this story really begins, let me ask you something. If you've ever been ignored, undervalued, or pushed aside by people who had no idea what you actually did, then go ahead and subscribe to this channel right now. Because this one is for you. Now, let me introduce myself. My name is Victor Reynolds. I'm 52 years old, and 15 minutes ago, I was just fired by a man who still wears his AirPods in meetings and thinks experience is a liability, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's rewind. You've got about 15 minutes, I said. Bryce Caldwell blinked at me. The way people do when they hear something that doesn't fit their worldview. Like I just told him his Tesla runs on optimism and LinkedIn posts. Excuse me, he said that I didn't repeat myself. Instead, I slid my security badge across the conference table. It stopped perfectly, right between his overpriced cold brew and the severance paperwork Angela from HR had just pushed toward me. 15 minutes, I said again calmly. Until the wheels come off. Maybe less. Victor, I'm not making threats. I cut in. Just stating facts. I stood up, smoothed down my shirt, the same way I'd done 1,000 times before walking into crisis meetings. Good luck finding my documentation. And then I walked out of that conference room for the last time. Here's the thing you need to understand about companies. You can tell their real priorities by who gets the corner office and who gets the server room at T. Eldridge Corporation. The corner office smelled like expensive cologne and unearned confidence. The server room, burnt plastic stale. Air, and 14 years of deferred maintenance. I'd been keeping the digital backbone of that place alive since 2011. My official title was Senior Systems Architect, but what I actually did was more like being an ER surgeon for dying code. The kind of work nobody notices until it stops happening. The trouble started when Bryce Caldwell showed up, 27 years old. Patagonia vest every single day. AirPods permanently installed. Pretty sure he slept with them. He married the CEO's daughter after one weekend in Sedona. Hot yoga. Mushroom tea. Finding themselves 3 months later. He's Chief Innovation Officer point 3. Months that I'd spent longer than that fixing our payment processing system after a vendor update nearly wiped out our customer database in 2019. But Bryce had an MBA from someplace impressive and zero understanding of how anything actually worked under the hood. What he did have opinions, lots of them. His first all-hands meeting, he stood up there with his cold brew and started throwing around buzzwords like they were confetti, technical debt, legacy, overhead. Move fast and break things. I sat in the back row, arms crossed, thinking about the 72-hour shift I'd pulled in 2022 when ransomware tried to take down our finance department. I stopped those systems from breaking Bryce. He wanted to break them on purpose and call it innovation. We're entering a bold new phase, he announced, clicking through slides that looked like they'd been stolen from a Medium post. Legacy infrastructure is holding us back. I didn't move, didn't react. I'd heard versions of this speech before, different words same. Meaning old equals bad, experience equals expensive. Then he said it, we need fewer people stuck in old ways of doing things. People shifted in their seats. He looked directly at me, direct eye contact. I smiled, not because it was funny, but because I knew something he didn't. What Bryce didn't know, couldn't know, was that every single night at 2, my automation scripts ran quietly in the background, patching inconsistencies, catching billing errors, preventing disasters before anyone noticed. Code I wrote back in 2013. After the third time, someone's quick fix almost deleted the customer database. Those scripts were mine, legally, contractually, explicitly mine. My employment contract said it in black and white. Anything I build on my own time, using my own methods, belonged to me. The company could license them. Only while I was employed, no employment. No maintenance. No license. I'd shown that contract to our lawyer back in 2011. He read it carefully, looked up at me, and said, "Keep good records, Victor." I kept excellent records, but Bryce, Bryce kept talking, cloud first, everything. I'd driven infrastructure, synergy. I stopped listening, started thinking about my daughter, Caitlin Jr. at State, biology major. Her tuition payment was due next month, her insulin, her health insurance, and the pension. 3 more years, just 3. That's what I told myself. I could make it 3 more years. 2 weeks later, I got the calendar invite. Quick sync. HR no agenda. No context. 4:30 p.m. on a Thursday. I'd seen this movie before. Late day meetings, neutral HR faces, manila folders. They never did it in the morning. Too risky. Someone might fight back. I showed up at 4:28 p.m. professional to the end. And that's where this part of the story ends, because what happened after that meeting, what happened after I said 15 minutes, changed everything. For them and for me. I didn't go home, not after that meeting. Not after 14 years ended in a branded folder and a fake smile. I walked 2 blocks south past offices where lights were still on, past people who still thought tomorrow would be normal, and I pushed open the door to Murphy's Tap, a veterans bar, low ceilings, scarred wooden tables, and a bartender who knows when not to ask questions. Tommy Murphy didn't even wait for me to sit down. Maker's Mark, 2 fingers, no ice. He set the glass in front of me, looked at my face, then at my phone then. Back at my face. They finally do it? He asked. Yeah, they finally did. How long you give them? I turned the glass slowly, watched the amber liquid catch the light. 15 minutes, maybe less. He didn't laugh, didn't look surprised, just nodded like a man who's seen this movie before. Tommy's ex-Navy. Ran IT systems on aircraft carriers, the kind of place where mistakes don't cost money. They cost lives. He knows what happens when leadership ignores infrastructure. He pulled a chair across from me, sat down with his own coffee. You remember Norfolk? He asked. I did, but sometimes you need to. Hear it again. 2019, he said. 22 years at Lockheed. New VP comes in. Stanford MBA. Couldn't tell a server rack from a coffee maker. Starts talking about optimizing headcount, right-sizing legacy positions. He took a sip, fired me on a Thursday. By Monday, their entire classified network was down. Turns out, I was the only one who knew the failover protocols. Did they call you back? I asked. I offered contractor rates. I told them 5 times my old salary, 6-month minimum, paid up front. They paid it 3 days to fix what they broke. Then I walked. He gestured around the bar. No MBAs, no performance reviews, just pour drinks, go home when I want. My phone buzzed once, then again. Then it didn't stop. I turned it face down. Tommy glanced at it. That them? Yeah. You gonna answer? Nope. He nodded, stood up. I'll be at the bar if you need anything. Here's what nobody tells you about being the person who holds everything together. You become invisible. Not because you're bad at your job, but because you're too good at it. Systems hum, alerts stay quiet, fires never start. So people forget someone is standing there with a bucket and a hose until you leave. Every night at 2:00. My scripts ran. They weren't flashy. It didn't use AI or blockchain or whatever buzzword Bryce was excited about that week. They did boring things, critical things. They checked vendor databases, flagged duplicate entries, caught expired contracts at 6:00. They verified API connections, tested failover systems, validated backups, work nobody applauds, work nobody notices until it stops. I tried explaining this to Bryce 2 months earlier, showed him dashboards logs, error patterns, one small failure cascades. I told him, systems don't explode, they decay. He listened for maybe 45 seconds, then cut me off. Modern platforms have built-in redundancy, he said, not even looking up from his phone. This manual oversight is anti-fragile. The systems fail, I said. That's why we watch them. That's old thinking, Victor. We're moving toward autonomous infrastructure. I pulled up last year's outage, 14 hours down. My backups kept customer operations running. He scrolled 3 lines. Exactly, he said. Single point of failure. I was the single point he wanted gone. The phone buzzed again. Text from Darren in procurement. Vic, email system acting weird, messages bouncing. You know what's going on? I typed back slowly. Check the documentation. Point 3 dots appeared immediately. Then, what documentation? I put the phone face down again. There was documentation, 286 pages, process flows, system diagrams, emergency recovery steps, stored in a folder labeled critical infrastructure, V. RLDS Bryce deleted it 5 weeks earlier. Legacy bloat. He'd said, static documents are a crutch. I objected in writing. He overruled me. I kept my own copy, of course I did, on my personal laptop, which was currently sitting in my truck. The TV over the bar flickered, local business news, a red banner scrolled across the bottom. Eldridge Corporation stock drops 8% IN after hours, trading amid reports of technical difficulties. Tommy looked at the screen, then at me, raised an eyebrow. Didn't say a word. My phone started ringing continuously now. Angela from HR, Darren again, a 202 area code. Then Bryce, hey, hope you're doing okay. Smiley face. Quick question, where the vendor API config stored? Then another, this is urgent, please respond. Then Victor, I know we didn't end things great, but we really need your help that I finish my bourbon. Held up the empty glass. Tommy refilled it. Stock's down 8%. He said quietly, just getting started. I said, you sabotage anything? I looked at him, didn't touch a thing. Just stop fixing it. There a difference? Big difference. Sabotage is breaking something that works. This is letting broken things stay broken. Behind me, the TV anchor kept talking. Sources report widespread system failures affecting multiple departments. My phone buzzed again. Then again, I didn't look because I already knew when systems fail, they don't scream. They whisper first, and nobody was listening anymore. I left Murphy's around midnight. Didn't check my phone. Didn't need to. When you spent 14 years watching systems fail, you don't need alerts to know what's happening. I drove home, left the phone in the truck, and slept, really slept. No 2 a.m. anxiety. Number 6 a.m. backup checks. No half dreams about servers crashing. Just silence, the kind you forget exists. I woke up at 7. Sunlight through the kitchen window. Made coffee strong, black. French press my daughter gave me for Christmas. Then I went to the truck. That's when I saw it. 127 unread messages. 34 missed calls, 3 voicemails. All for numbers I didn't recognize. I sat down at the kitchen table and finally started reading. The timestamps made it beautiful. 2:47 a.m. automated email. Routing failed. Messages started bouncing. 3:12 a.m. vendor database sync through errors. Duplicate entries multiplying. 3:45 a.m. API authentication failures. Client portals locked out. 4:23 a.m. billing system couldn't reconcile invoices. Processing stopped completely. 5:01 a.m. backup verification failed. No one noticed because no one was watching by 6:30 a.m. The first client called support by 7:15, 15 more by 8 a.m. When the East Coast business day started, Eldridge Corporation was dead in the water. Angela's emails came first. Corporate panic. Lots of words to say. We're screwed, Victor. We understand you're no longer with the company, but we're experiencing critical system issues. Then Darren, man, everything's broken. Email, vendors, billing, all of it. Then someone new, Jennifer, IT infrastructure, Mr. Reynolds, I'm new. They're asking me to fix systems I've never seen before. Is there documentation? I deleted them all without responding by 10 a.m. The news picked it up. Eldridge Corporation shares fall 30% as technical outage enters second day. They still thought this was temporary. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered, Mr. Reynolds? Professional confident. This is Patricia Keene from Stratum Systems. I hope this isn't a bad time. I've got time. We've been following your career for a while. We're impressed with your work. She paused. We'd like to make you an offer. Consulting contract. 6 months minimum. Renewable, double my previous salary. Equity, full benefits. And then she said the part that mattered. You'd be working with people who actually understand what you do. What's the catch? I asked. No catch. We're tired of cleaning up after MBAs who think cloud means magic. I almost laughed. When do you need an answer? Take the weekend, but Victor, we know what you're worth, even if they didn't. 3 days passed, the messages got worse. Bryce called from different numbers. Voicemails went from casual. Hey man, no hard feelings, right? To panicked. Victor, the board is asking questions I can't answer. To broken. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Please, I deleted every single one on day. For my daughter called. Dad, you okay? You haven't texted back. I'm fine, honey. You sound weird. They let me go on Thursday silence. They fired you? After 14 years? New management. They wanted younger, cheaper, more agile. Dad, that's age discrimination. Maybe right now I'm just letting things play out. What does that mean? It means they're learning what happens when experience walks out the door. Pause. Good, she said softly. I hope they crash and burn. I smiled. I got a job offer yesterday. Already? Turns out experience still matters to the right people. I'm proud of you, Dad. That's when it hit me. Not fired, not defeated, just free. Week 2, the lawsuit started. First one for $20 million. Then 2 more. Then 5. Then a class action. Week 3, the SEC opened an investigation. And then the subpoena arrived certified mail. They weren't suing me. They wanted me to testify. I had everything, every warning, every email, every ignored risk, time-stamped, archived, backed up in 3 places. The lawyer called that afternoon. Mr. Reynolds, you're not in trouble. We need you to explain what happened in plain language. They fired the person holding everything together and acted surprised when it fell apart. Can you say that under oath? I can say it slowly, he laughed. Perfect. I accepted Stratham's offer the next morning, drove to Arlington, real office. Real engineers, the CTO. Richard, gray hair, real credentials. He listened, took notes, asked intelligent questions. This is solid. Victor, when can you start? 3 weeks. Take 4. I want it done right. I lean back, real chair. Natural light. People trusting me to do my job. 6 months later, I sat in a deposition room. Lawyers everywhere. They slid my emails across the table. Did you warn them? Yes. Did they listen? No. Did you sabotage anything? I looked straight at the camera. I stopped providing license tools after termination. That's not sabotage. That's math. One final question. Would you have done anything differently? I didn't hesitate. I would have left 2 years earlier, 6 months after the deposition. I wasn't watching the news anymore. Didn't need to. When companies fail like that, they don't go out in a bang. They bleed slowly. Publicly, Eldred Corporation settled every lawsuit. $18.7 million. Not counting legal fees. Not counting the SEC fines. The CEO retired quietly. No press tour. No farewell email. And Bryce Caldwell. His LinkedIn now read, independent consultant, which is corporate. Code for unemployed. I never clicked his profile. Never checked their website. Never reached out. I was too busy building something that actually worked at Stratum Systems. I redesigned their backup infrastructure. Not flashy, no blog posts, no keynote speeches, just systems that didn't fail when things got ugly. Richard stopped by my desk one afternoon. You know what I've learned in 35 years? He said, companies that don't value infrastructure, don't value anything, they're just waiting to fail. They just don't know it yet. That night, I drove home through Arlington traffic, the late sun cutting across the windshield. Katie was in the kitchen when I walked in. Pasta boiling. Music playing softly. Dad, you're not going to believe. This, she held up her phone. LinkedIn is wild. Bryce had posted some long apology about humility, about respecting institutional knowledge, probably written by a PR firm. The comments were brutal. Didn't you fire the guy who warned you? This you? Funny how respect shows up after the collapse. I put my phone in the drawer. Didn't need to read anymore. What kind of pasta? I asked. The good kind, she said. Not the college kind. Over dinner. She talked about finals, about a lab position, about her plans. Normal things, good things. You miss your old job? She asked. The work sometimes? The people? No. You happy now? I thought about sleep, about not waking up at 2, about not carrying the weight of the system that would collapse without me. Yeah, I said I am. Later that evening, I sat on the back porch, Maker's Mark in my hand, not celebrating, just breathing. My neighbor Bill wandered over, retired Marine. Best revenge is living well, he said. I shook my head. No. The best revenge is letting people fail on their own terms. I didn't sabotage anything. I just stopped saving them from themselves. He raised his glass. I'll drink to that. 14 years, that's what I gave Eldridge. They threw it away in 15 minutes. I got it back in 6 months. That's not revenge. That's not karma. That's just math. If you're the person holding everything together and nobody notices, remember this, you're not replaceable. You're just invisible until you leave. And when you do, don't burn bridges, don't shout, don't beg. Just stop fixing what they refuse to understand and go build something better. Thanks for listening. And if this story hit a little too close to home, you already know what to do. Subscribe.